Okay, so I am calling the meeting to order at 3:32 according to the 3:31 according to my computer.
Ready?
And to start out present, I see either in person, Terry Gaffney and Nancy Natali. And on the computer, it appears though Al Miller, John King, Jim DeMark, and Jim Long are present. So we're going to go past the minutes for a minute and dive in because we've got a lot of things to cover today. So I'm going to start with, I've got the wrong minutes out in front of me. Okay, so the commission received a very generous donation from the Calvi family to be put towards the Veteran Street Sign Program. Fred Calvi, you may recall, was the recipient of the Street Sign Award last year. And the family was so touched, they made a very generous donation. So we thank the Calvi family for helping support. And we'll get to the Wartime Veteran Street Sign Program in a little while. Rob Hulick told me he has a meeting today. I just want to, put on notice that he and I will start working on a draft budget for next year because we will be asked for that shortly. Jim DeMark and John King, between the two of you, offline, if you could put together some numbers for what you think for the cemetery subcommittee, that would be terrific. Next point, commission staffing. Unbeknownst to me, last meeting, the town had actually approved the reduction of commissioners from 15 to 9. So we actually did have a quorum at our last meeting, unbeknownst to me. So we're official now. So I apologize that I created some confusion by asking for more volunteers, which we did get. And I apologize especially to David Bain because he went to bat and did some work, and unfortunately it was for naught. So my apologies, David. We have a request. Let's see, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. We do have a quorum, so we'll come back to the minutes later. But we have a request from Parks and Rec for a memorial bench to be placed either at Weed Beach or at Pear Tree Point. The request has come in from the family of Glenn and Linda Osberg. The family will pay for the bench and maintenance of the bench, and the Parks Department would install it if we approve it. Glenn was longtime commissioner of the Darien Boat Club and was an avid fisherman. And now that he's passed, the family has asked that a plaque be installed on a memorial bench that reads, "In memory of Glenn and Linda Osberg, a great fisherman and the best catch of his life." Not referring to a striped bass, but referring to his wife. So first of all, I thank Pam Geary for going through official protocol and asking for permission. I personally would be in favor of seeing this bench installed. I think it says a lot for somebody who is very active in the town. Having said that, I would ask, does anybody else have any opinions one way or another?
Yeah, I would move that we do it.
I agree with you, Terry. Glenn was a pretty good friend, and his wife as well, and great father, great family. I totally agree with you.
Okay, so it sounds like I just heard a motion that we should approve the bench, and a second.
Yeah.
Is there any further discussion? Hello?
Yeah, no, you asked for the vote.
Okay, so all those in favor, I need you to say aye because I can't see anybody's screen.
Aye. Aye.
Any opposed? Okay, motion's carried unanimously. I will let Pam Geary and the family know that we have approved their bench. Thank you. Seeing as Jim DeMark has got to leave early, we're going to hop around and jump down to point number 7, Cemetery Subcommittee update. So, Jim and John, can you fill us in, please?
Yeah, Terry, I think Al wanted you to start with
Al
this.
has to leave early.
Because he
Oh,
has.
Al has to leave earlier. Okay. All right, let's go down point 9, Darien 2020 update.
Thank you very much, Terry. Yeah, I've got an actual 2020 meeting at 4 o'clock. So we're planning the events. Like I said before, we've got 3 events. The first one is going to be the Weed Beach Fest. They're hosting the bicentennial celebration on June 4th, Friday, June 4th, from 5 to 7 o'clock at night. That should be pretty good. The second one is Anniversary Day at Slauson Cemetery, and that's on Saturday, June 12th, which is the anniversary day of when the town was founded in 1820. I don't know if anybody's seen the sign at Slauson Cemetery, but it is in very, very, very extremely poor condition. So we had agreed to redo the sign. I've got a template that Dave Pollitt had given me, and I'm going to Sign Crafters this week for them to redo it. He said that I don't know what that buzzing noise is.
That may be me.
So I'm going to Sign Crafters this week. I contacted them. We've got a template. We agreed that the 2020 commission would fund this one sign because of the event taking place in Slauson Cemetery. So we will cover the expense through our donations. But a question I have is, who hangs the sign? Does M&C hang the sign, or how does it get on Parks and Rec, or who actually goes and hangs the sign? There's a sign hanging there now, but with this new one, we need somebody to go and hang it.
I actually don't know, so I will speak with Pam if I can catch her before she leaves today. Otherwise, I'll check with her tomorrow.
Okay, and could you email me, because we'd like to get this up obviously before, well before the June 12th date.
Okay, if I risk multitasking, I might try and email
No,
Pam.
no, you don't have to do that quick. I mean, you know,
Okay.
It's going to take them a couple of weeks, they said, to fabricate the sign. So I get all the information about the font and everything from, oh my gosh, I'm drawing a blank.
Tracy, from Tracy.
Yeah, from Tracy, right. Tracy, before she left for Florida, she gave me a lot of the information. So I don't think that's a problem. Another thing we're doing is I contacted Tom Costello. He did the cleanup of some of the cemeteries last year. And we said that he's got to come in for a quick cleaning up like a week or so before the event. This was in the contract for last year, but we didn't pay it because he didn't do it, obviously, because it was postponed. So M&C agreed, 2020 Commission agreed to pay that as well. So we will handle that expense a week before they're going to clean up the cemetery a bit.
Just make sure, Al, that you coordinate that with Jim DeMark and John King, because we don't want him doing the work and the Weeburn crew doing the work, because they had volunteered to do some of that work. So that may be an option for you if you don't want to spend the money.
Okay.
Yeah, just let us know.
Okay, let me write that down.
We were there the other 2 weeks ago, and I didn't think that cemetery was in that bad a shape.
No, it looks, yeah, it looks pretty good. I mean, they cleaned it up last year, and we're going to have a tent, so they cut some of the low branches off so the tent can be installed. But they did a lot of cleanup job, and I know because of the storms over the winter and in the fall, we didn't have that much damage, not that many trees down. Like I know Norotan really got hit. But yeah, it doesn't look that bad. You know, they got to cut the grass and everything. They may spray for bugs because it's going to be at 6 o'clock at night. So that's a prime time for mosquitoes and everything. That's about it. You know, I'm interested in the Memorial Day parade if that's going to take place, but I'm sure you're going to address it later on.
Al, before we leave that, before we spray for bugs, I I know that when I moved to town 22 years ago, we were infested with mosquitoes. But between dropping tablets in sewers and everything else going on in the environment, I haven't seen a mosquito in the last 4 years. So
Okay.
before we lay out any poison, I would say let's go to the cemetery a week beforehand at that 6
Okay.
o'clock hour and get a feel for whether it's required.
That sounds good. I mean, if we don't have to, some people actually raise a concern to me, but if we don't have to, I'm good with not doing it.
Yeah, because I think
Some people
anybody
were,
who's
some people on
concerned,
the committee was concerned.
well, my own personal opinion, I'm not driving this bus, but my own personal opinion is those who are concerned should bring their own bug spray.
Yeah.
Because if you do use any sort of bug repellent, it's got to be, you got to be very careful that you're not killing other species. You don't want to be killing bees. You don't want to be killing butterflies. So, collateral damage.
Yeah.
Wow, everybody's
Yeah.
face came up.
Yeah, that makes sense. I mean, maybe we'll actually have a little thing to squirt on themselves at
Yeah.
if it's really bad instead of doing it. I mean, that makes a lot of sense instead of doing it.
And like my Irish
beforehand.
grandmother said, put on long sleeves and long pants.
Right. And that's about it. And then October 23rd is a big festival with First Congregational Church and Mather Homestead and the Museum of Darien. But that's out in the future. So that's about it, everybody. Any questions or we're good? Okay,
Thank you for all your work, Al.
no problem.
Let's swing back to the cemetery committee.
Okay, here's an update on what's happened. I talked to Mario yesterday. He will finish all the cemeteries that John and I are involved in next Monday, as far as the spring cleanup is concerned. And then per April, May, and June, he's going to start cutting the grass in the cemeteries. Rob Hewlick, John King. Rob had a gentleman join John King, Rob, and I visit the cemeteries 2 weeks ago. This gentleman is one of the regional managers of a company that Rob Hewlick's company owns. It's a monument company. And what we wanted to do was have this gentleman take a look at all the different stones that have collapsed and are broken, take pictures of them, and give us some kind of an indication of what it would take in order to do something to repair this. So that's on the burner right now. The other thing is, when I was talking to Mario actually yesterday, he was telling me that he was looking at some of the cemeteries in Norwalk, and I haven't had a chance to ask him to take some pictures, but he said, Jim, the Norotan River Cemetery, I would love to throw some seed down there because it needs some grass. And he said, some flowers. And I said, Mario, I said, when you get finished doing the spring cleanup, I said, why don't you just take a look at each one of the cemeteries and give us some kind of an idea about what it would cost for you to do something like that. And then we can decide whether or not we want to take care of it. But I would strongly recommend that the one cemetery that we seriously think about doing something like that would be the Norotan River Cemetery, because it's, so visible from the post road.
A couple of thoughts on that, Jim. Number one, Mario did a very good job of clearing out that cemetery. That cemetery got hit really badly with that last windstorm. There are more broken headstones in there than there were 6 months ago. It really got whacked in that windstorm. So I'm glad you're having somebody look at what we may be able to accomplish. I like the idea of the grass seed. You've got money in the budget, so it's your discretion to say yes to that. As to the flowers, we have 2 florists in town who each of whom is very community minded. Perhaps we should be asking 3 florists. I'm sorry. By Springdale, I was remembering. I was forgetting one of the others. but maybe we should be asking them for some pro bono contributions. Alternately, the Darien Beautification Commission, which does such a lovely job with the flowers, flower baskets on the post road. You know, we have options there.
Okay.
If you, I mean, I'll be happy to reach out to the various organizations and ask and let you guys know what I come up with.
John and I'll take care of it. Okay, it's not a biggie. Listen, there's one other thing, and I'll be very honest with you. I don't know how to handle this. The Norotan River Cemetery had junk, Christmas trees dumped in there from, it looked like the restaurant next door. And honestly, I don't know what to do. I mean, do we go over and knock on the door and say, hey, look, we'd really appreciate you not dumping any junk into the cemetery anymore? I don't know how to handle it. I'll be honest with you.
Okay, it's just, so was there any specific indication that led you to believe it was the restaurant? Because in the past, it was not the restaurant that was dumping, it was somebody else.
Oh.
And
I say this is that Mario was telling me it was on the side of where the restaurant is, I mean. And then there was a couple more trees dumped throughout the graveyard. So, you know, I don't know, maybe they didn't do it or maybe they did. I
can go over and talk to Giovanni. I mean, you know, his gals there are pretty friendly.
Okay.
I actually retrieved their sign from the cemetery after that last windstorm. It had blown into the cemetery. So it may have been that some of that stuff blew in there also. I mean, just.
Yeah, these were, Terry, pretty, you know, big Christmas trees. And there's a lot of.
Were they all the way in the back, John?
Well, when they were cleaning it out, we went over and they were up towards where they take the garbage out. But I think if we accomplish what we want to accomplish and make it a really neat, clean space, I think people would be very reluctant to kind of throw garbage in there.
Yeah.
Because, you know, we're trying to do something that's the right thing. You know, I would think people would think the way I do. You don't throw garbage on a nice, you know, cemetery, but people have been doing it. And I think once we get this cleaned up, and it looks pretty nice from the post road, people will not do what they've been doing.
Okay.
Could there be a sign put up there telling people that they shouldn't, you know, a warning sign?
I don't know. If we want to put up any sign, I think it should be an encouraging sign rather than a warning sign. I'll talk to Giovanni. I'll talk to the Brigantes and find out what they know.
Great. Thank you.
Thank you.
You know, I stopped by there months ago and there were like, I think somebody was sleeping there. There was homeless. There was blankets, dirty blankets. There were a lot of liquor bottles there. There was like
He continues to live there, Al.
Okay.
We've notified the health department, but you know, can only go so far.
Take care. Bye-bye, everybody. Thank you.
Take care. Thank you, Al. All right, so let's come back to the minutes. As I mentioned earlier, unbeknownst to me, we actually did have a quorum last month. Last month, we asked if there were any recommended changes to January or February, and nobody gave any. And Nancy pointed out I had a typo in the minutes, the draft minutes for March's meeting, where I missed a single digit when it said the commissioners are reduced from, it says 5 to 9. It should have read 15. But other than that, has anybody seen any errors or omissions or corrections from the minutes?
No.
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 Okay, do I hear a motion to approve each of the 3 months as written with the one note?
Motion to approve.
Nancy motion, second Jim. All those in favor?
Uh,
Okay, that's unanimous. They're all approved. Thank you. Memorial Day. I'm working in tandem with the Board of Selectmen and the Board of Health. We're still getting encouraging news from the governor's office without any specifics. So we are making every plan to proceed with the parade, knowing full well we may be pulling the plug, because it's the safety of our citizens is paramount concern for this commission, for the health department, and for the Board of Selectmen. So it may be that even if the state is saying yes, if the town feels we cannot safely police the venue to keep everybody safe, we may still pull the plug. We have held back May 10th, Monday, May 10th, as the final decision date. While the governor right now is telling us to proceed with plans, the strictures that they have in place are just not tenable. We cannot enforce public safety the way they've got it set up. But we are proceeding to plan because this does not happen overnight. So we'll keep you posted on that. Regardless of whether we have the parade or not, we will absolutely be holding the dedication ceremony for the fallen veterans in Spring Grove Veterans Cemetery on Monday, May 31st, Memorial Day, at 11:30 a.m. That will absolutely happen one way or another. We have the ability to maintain social distancing there. Currently, the state stricture is 500 people. There's a probability to a possibility that number would be increased, but at any rate, we can handle 500 people very easily in the cemetery. As I said last year, if we can fit 2,163 dead people, we can fit 500 live people there. Everybody will be required to wear masks. As to keynote speaker and grand marshal, I do have a few candidates. However, my contacts at both the American Legion and the VFW are still ferreting out additional potential candidates. So I'm going to hold off sending out any names to anybody for at least a week. Once I've vetted each of the group for the first cut, I'll send out the bios to everybody, and we'll hold a special meeting. Now, when I send out the bios, they're going to be labeled candidate A, B, C, etc., because we don't want to discuss names, because that's not fair to people who are not selected. So look for something at the end of next week on that. Just want to make sure I didn't skip over anything else. No, okay. Wartime Veteran Street Sign Program. Monuments and Ceremonies Commission is pleased to announce the next recipient of the Darien Veteran Street Sign Honor Program is the late Frank Valenti. The new sign with Valenti's name will be added and unveiled on William Street at noon on Sunday, May 23rd. That's the date the family had requested. Frank Valenti bravely served as a private first class in the United States Army during World War II. He joined the Army in July of 1943 and served in the 175th Infantry Regiment as a rifleman. His company landed on June 6th on Normandy Beach to liberate France. Frank fought bravely for his country, a recipient of 2 Purple Hearts, and awarded several distinguished service medals during his years in the Army. Just as a side note, he was wounded on D-Day, and the story that he told one of his very good friends was that he was not a swimmer, and he was saved by another soldier coming ashore. And that other soldier was killed as he helped Frank out. So he really was something. Upon his return from the war, Frank Valenti came home and served his hometown of Darien. Frank, along with his wife Josephine Nee Casolo, raised 5 children in Norotan Heights. Frank was tirelessly involved with many organizations, including the Piedmont Associates, Springdale Athletic Association, Knights of Columbus, Darien VFW, the Disabled American Veterans, the Association of the Purple Heart, and the Darien Old Timers. Frank was also a special police officer with the Darien Police for 30 years. He worked at St. Thomas More Church for 11 years and spent a great deal of time working at Springdale Florist. Frank was an avid gardener and enjoyed playing golf and bowling. He also served as our Grand Marshal at the Memorial Day Parade in 2008. The commission is pleased to honor him with this sign. And again, that the ceremony will be on Sunday, May 23rd on William Street at 12 noon. For those who are interested in making applications, applications are available online on the town website or can be picked up at the first selectman's office. A note that incomplete applications cannot be accepted. It's a volunteer organization and we don't have the staff, so it's incumbent upon anyone making an application to ensure that it is complete. Next, has anybody found anything of interest, import, or distress with any of the monuments you may have visited? Okay, no news is good news. Oh, we're really blowing through this. I thought we were going to be forever today. Flag Day, June 14th. There's a possibility I may be out of town that week. I either come back the day before or the day after. I'm not really sure. So I may be looking for a volunteer from the commission to run Flag Day if I'm not here. I'll post everybody over the next week when I find my precise schedule. I can't believe we'll go through all this that fast. I thought we were going to be here forever today. Am I missing something? I don't think so, am I?
Hey, Terry, just to refresh my memory, what time is that Flag Day ceremony usually at?
Usually at 5 o'clock.
Okay, that's what I thought, but okay.
That's when the town would officially take the flags down. It may be 4:30. 4:30 is probably the real start time, but my memory is 5 o'clock to allow people to get home from work.
Gotcha.
Yeah, that takes place, by the way, for our audience of thousands on Channel 79. That ceremony takes place at the Veterans Circle in front of Town Hall. And again, social distancing, masks required. I think everybody knows that mantra by now. Wow, we got through everything in a half an hour. That's ridiculous.
Wow, efficient.
Does anybody want to talk? Was there any bones that we missed on any of the previous topics? Okay, good. So a call for new business. Anything else that we're missing here?
In the meeting.
No? Okay, not hearing any new business. Do I hear a motion for a Carabillo adjournment?
Motion.
Okay, everybody raise their hands. I guess everybody wants to get out of Dodge. Okay. I'm not even going to ask for objections because obviously there are none. Thank you, everybody. Enjoy this lovely weather. You got one more day of it.
Thanks, dear.
All right.
Thank you.
All right, thanks, everybody. I'm
Thanks,
going
Terry.
down to see Pam Geary now to ask about that sign for Al, and I'll email him.
Okay. Sounds good. Oh, here's Loren.
Okay. Bye now.